All right, Joe, I saw an Austin Eckler jersey at your locker, which means only one thing. It's fantasy football season, and I'm guessing your draft is ahead. Is that true?
Yeah, we got the draft done already. Now it's making all the final adjustments, find out who you want your starting guys to be.
How many guys on this team are part of your draft process?
12-man league. Some teams are grouped up with 2 guys in one. Some guys are just sponsoring a team and letting someone else run it. So, yeah, we got 12 teams, though.
Are you able to share the name of your fantasy team?
No, I'm not. I'll show you inside, but I should.
Show me inside, and is Tommy Pham part of this group again this year? Is that?
No, he's not in the mix on this one, no.
I guess some good news. Bob Melvin mentioned that you threw today. Can you tell us how that went and what's next?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, this first 2 weeks we're going to be pretty, pretty basic. It's about 75 feet to 80 feet. 3 days on, day off, couple days on, day off. I think by the end of this week we'll know where we stand in the playoff picture, and we'll readjust the routine or the schedule from there. But these first 2 weeks needed to be pretty cement in how we got ready and stuff. So I'm almost through that period, and then from there it's long toss and getting on the mound for bullpens. So everything's been going well so far.
So you mentioned to see where you are in the playoff picture. I know right now it looks very, very bleak. 10 games below 500. And there's a lot to go ahead and climb. Do you expect there's a chance that you just don't, and you just go ahead and get ready for next season?
Yeah, there's definitely a chance of that. We got some games coming up here where we got a chance to directly affect the standings and where we're at and make up some games fast. So we're definitely not out of this thing, and I haven't shut my season down mentally or physically yet, but we are trying to push it a little bit and then keep the pace high so that if we are in that postseason picture, I got a chance to throw. I think bullpen is probably more realistic, immediately to get back sooner. But, there's a chance that starting's in the mix, so it's just all about what happens in this next week, throwing-wise and how these games shake out.
How can you quite put into words what this season has been like? Because, every day the lineup comes out, I look at on paper, it just doesn't make sense that you guys are where you're at.
Yeah. No, we haven't played the type of baseball that we should played all year. We never really went on that run that we expected to, and that part of that's our fault, I think, for sitting by for a long time, kind of just expecting things to turn and not really making adjustments faster. But it's a team going 0-11 in extra inning games. I don't think that's ever happened. What is 0-12 is the record? It's just not very likely, especially with the team we got and the guys we got at the back end of our bullpen. It's just not anything that we expected, and I don't think that it's a lack of us wanting it or a lack of us, being engaged in those moments. It's just we haven't gotten, things to go our way in those times. And whether that's a clutch hit or a big punch out, plenty of those come throughout the game. It just never seems to go our way at the end of it there. But, there's a lot of things we'll have more time when the season's over to break down and really address some of these issues and where it went wrong. But, we've talked a lot over the last week about, spending these last 30 games, really making adjustments and changes that we want to see next year. A lot of these guys here are going to be back next year, and we don't want to end the year on this sour note, having not addressed some of these things and discuss what we need to fix. So trying to implement some things down this last 30 games to build some momentum going into the offseason and taking it next year.
So you mentioned a lot of the same guys are returning next season, especially a core of that offense. Do you expect the answers? Why would anything be different next year with the same guys a year older from where you are right now?
Yeah, it's gonna be directly up to us to actually make the difference. I think we've had times this year where we've had meetings and we've discussed things and answered all the questions that we felt like we had, and then we just didn't go out there and implement it, or we didn't hold each other accountable to following those things that we talked about. So, we know what it's going to take next year. We know the group of guys that we have in here and what everyone's capable of. I think everyone's track record kind of speaks for itself. It's odd that everyone comes in and at the same time we all have this year where everyone's struggling and everyone's down, and it's definitely a combination of things. It's not one thing you can point at and say we fix this, that changes everything, but it's a multiple of things. I think a lot of it comes with the mindset and the approach that we have, not only in how we play, but how we play as a group.
It's the business of baseball. There's a possibility that you could very well be on your third manager in 4 years. How insane does that sound to you?
It's tough. I feel terrible. We feel really guilty, We don't think that Bob's the problem here. It's us not performing and us not getting the job done has ultimately made it look worse for Bob. And as a manager, especially the type of manager Bob is, he's never going to point blame at anybody but himself. He'll always be the one to take the heat for us and wear that on his shoulders. So, we feel really bad. We wish we could have won a lot more games for him this year. But, if we do get the opportunity to work with him next year, we're going to be, a lot better than we were this year.
I know what you stand for and what you're going to go ahead and fight for. What do you expect the rest of this group to go ahead and fight for the final month of the season, assuming that playoffs are unattainable?
Yeah, I think at this point we got a lot bigger issues right now than trying to fight our way into the playoffs. I think it's going to take some adjustments and some changes as a group. And throughout those changes, I think you might see us creep closer to that playoff spot, and hopefully we get a spot in there through that thing. But I think we're looking at bigger picture here. This is a group that, like I said, is going to be here next year, and we need to figure out what went wrong this year and what we need to fix and start working on those things now. And, maybe we'll see a transition and a little swing, go on a run, and find ourselves in the playoffs come the end of the year. But I think the bigger picture is figuring out this group and figuring out what adjustments we need to make.